Understanding parental involvement amongst Chicano parents is essential to the ways in which English language learners are successful in California schools. Parental involvement has been proven to be key to the success of students in all stages of education. Regardless of race, class, and socioeconomic factors, academic achievement can be boosted by the ways in which parents are involved in their children's academic careers. Studies on Chicano parent involvement in the education of their students is limited and fractured. One of the more specific studies focuses on Mexican American 8th graders in 1988. In the study conducted by the National Center for Education Statistics, 1,714 students and their families were involved in an ongoing survey to determine what factors led to increased parental involvement and the negative and positive relations those factors had on the students' success. It is important to note that their definition of parental involvement meant general parental interest and involvement in students' social and academic lives, and parental participation in school activities. Factors noted were previous achievement of the student, family background, parents' English language proficiency, and home rules. Previous achievement and family background are more highly associated with the ways in which they provide support to the student. English language proficiency and home rules had much less influence on the ability to be involved in the life of the student. Overall findings indicate that parents with less English proficiency were more likely to discuss school activities and had higher educational aspirations than parents fully proficient in English. Their findings were also consistent with parental involvement research for general student population studies, which were applied to other grades. Another study with more limited purview but more recent findings is from 2003, which examined Chicana and Latina mothers' involvement perceptions. Almost 100% of participants believed they were providing a basic obligation and a proper home environment for their children, but only 42% admitted to being involved at school. This study, however, lent more parental support to those parents who were more acculturated. The overall findings supported long-term impacts on students as opposed to short-term. ELL programs during the 1980s were structured on the bilingual model. The California State Department of Education was much more comprehensive in their inclusion of family in the education of the ELL students. However, in the 2000s, the Department of Education has stepped back from defining needs outside of the educational institution. Schools, therefore, interpret the new regulations to fit budget needs and disregard several necessities for meeting end goals of ELL students. Amongst many professionals in the field of education, there is a consensus of the types of steps that should be taken to include parents and family in the education of minorities and those with limited English language proficiency. All of the suggestions mean that teachers and administrations need to take on responsibility to initiate outreach. As we know, the success rates of Mexican Americans are consistently low, and their LEP counterparts struggle just as much within the system. Even though we may see that there are attempts at including the effectively proven tactic of parental involvement, the fact is that success rates are not improving. This can only lead one to believe that practice differs from policy. In order for students, families, and schools to benefit from teaching their Chicano and Latino bilingual students, is for schools to understand that comprehensive cultural understanding among staff is vital, and by excluding parents from their child's learning process, they are only hindering the advancement of the future generation.